Mhm.
Hey everyone, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. And hope everybody's doing well out there. And as we're currently dealing with another heat wave here in LA, we're just staying cool and doing the best that we can. And yeah, we're just happy to be here. And I have two very lovely special guests in the corner. You've definitely seen them on television, movies, and they've had many prolific careers. Um, and if I list off everything that they did, we probably would be here for another 5, 10 minutes or so. But we have Bonnie Bartlett and William Daniels in the corner. How are you two doing?
We're fine. We're both fine.
Very good.
Bill's going to give you a couple of minutes. You can ask him a
All
couple
right.
questions and then he's out. He's got to do cameos.
Oh, okay, sure. So I guess my first question that I have for both of you is how has everything been, like, at least for this year? Because I know we're kind of like we've been in a little something something for the last couple of years, so I just wanted to ask, like, if you could give like a quick little rundown of how 2023 has been for you guys, that would be just to break the ice a little bit, just
It's
as
been
an
great.
introduction.
It's been good for us. I mean, we're very old and we were very healthy and our family's all good and everything's been good. We do conventions. So we're still active in the business. And Bill wrote a book about 4 years ago and it's still selling very well. And his book is, I'll show you his book. That's his book. Can you see it?
Nice. Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Okay. And that has been selling very well. And then we have my book, which just came out. And that's what I want to talk to you about later. Okay. We'll talk about
Sure.
my book, which is Middle of the Rainbow, Bonnie Bartlett Daniels. Okay. You got that?
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
All right. So anyway, we've got those. But yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, that's good to know because I know that the last couple of years have been very rough all around. So it's nice that,
Not for us. It's been fine. Everything's been fine. We're able to, Bill and I are very good at adjusting to whatever's happening. So we're very
yeah,
involved politically. He reads the New York Times every day. That's his Bible. And that's what that is. So we're fine. My book is
totally.
doing very well. I'm very pleased because it's I get a lot of things from women particularly who say, thank you so much for writing the book. It's very important that you wrote this book. And that makes me very happy because I mean, really good women have loved the book, and lawyers and actors and everybody. And the men even come and say, we get it. I get it. I get it. Yes. You know, what happened to me recently, there's been an actor who's been put in jail for like 20 or 30 years for rapes that were 20 years ago. Well, the main rape that I write about in the book, there's nothing I could have done, but I could have had him put in jail, but there was no access to that kind of thing at that time. There was no access to it. So there was nothing I could do. So I have mixed feelings because I'm sorry for the actor that they're putting away, but he did do some very bad things. So that's where I'm coming from. So you want to ask Bill something, then he can go. Okay?
Yeah. Just pretty much like in general, how much would you say? Because I know you've been working in television for a very long time, so
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, how, and it's really good that you mentioned, like, keeping up with the current, like, what's been going on as of now. So, what are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed, like, in the industry over the course of, the showbiz history that you've been working? And what are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed over the years that you've been in the industry, been
You want to
working in
answer that,
entertainment?
Bill?
I couldn't hear him.
Oh, you couldn't hear him?
What did he say?
He can't hear you.
What do you want?
Oh,
You have to
um,
speak up.
oh, sorry. Basically, how has the industry changed, like over the course of like when you first got started and up to now?
How has the industry changed? You're asking a
Yeah,
big question. That's a bigger question than we can answer. I mean, the industry changes all the time. For instance, one of the big things we notice in the industry, which is very good, is that commercials and everything that goes out there are using all kinds of people. It's not just when I was young and I did commercials, it was like the pretty blonde mom, that kind of thing. Now you have people who are obese, you have people who are, definitely different colors, all kinds of colors. That is completely different. The industry has changed completely in the emphasis on black and brown people working so that they're Asian people. They're trying to make it so that we're all just part of a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the white people working, lots and lots of mixtures. And that's great. And that's
yeah,
good for everybody.
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm,
Let's see.
And now there is more because of my situation and the abuse that I received. There's much more attention in the workplace, so that men have to behave properly. They're not allowed as much leeway.
Yeah. Um,
People
and I
are
guess,
called on their behavior. People are called on it.
yeah.
mhm.
Because I think that's something also with social media too. I think that's kind of something else that's kind of been like, yeah, because having a presence and navigating your way through the current times where people have the social outlets of getting engaged with companies, fans. It's kind of started gaining a bit of a it's even more prevalent now than it was like back in the 90s and 2000s. I think that's kind of like one of the biggest ones that I've noticed over the course of especially the last couple of years or so.
That
That's
what?
what I've seemed to notice. Like
What?
with social media.
Oh gosh, yes, it's made
Yeah.
a big difference, good and bad.
Yeah, totally.
Everything that is a improvement always has a bad side. And the
Mhm.
social media has been very bad for the personalities of young people. They're lonely and they're having a struggle. There's a lot of suicide of young people, and it's very bad. The social media has hurt them terribly,
Mhm.
as
Oh
well as
yeah.
has given people a lot of information.
Yeah. Um so I guess over the course of, the last couple of years, what have been the biggest ones that because I know that you've been involved politically, so what are some of the biggest like um how can I put this?
I
So
think I think we should talk more about
yeah,
the careers and things like that. But
totally, yeah.
yeah, just
So just
Bonnie
putting
and
that
Bill.
aside.
Let's talk about Bonnie and Bill.
Oh yeah,
We are
sure.
Democrats. We're fighting all the way. That I'll say. But let's just talk about Bonnie and Bill.
Yeah, because like I don't want to linger onto politics for too long. So for your careers, like I usually ask like how you got started, but um
It's all in the book. But my book, his book, both of their books, I encourage people. They're good books. Bill's is a lot of fun. He talks a lot about his career stories that are wonderful and funny. Mine is more serious because it's about abuse and it's about the way men have treated women and the changes that we're getting.
Mhm.
oh yeah. Because I know that we can discuss a lot about Bill's work in TV and film, and I know that one of his most well known is definitely Boy Meets World, which I've been rewatching a lot recently. Um, so I guess for my question, it's um after so many years that it's been off the air, how does it still resonate with a new generation? Like it still resonates with audiences years after it's been off the air.
Bill,
I don't follow that one.
he wants to know, come on, get a little closer
I
here.
am,
Oh,
I'm as close as I can get.
okay, well, see it in the mirror? There, I want you to be there, okay.
Mhm.
He has been totally surprised by all of that.
What? Huh?
Just talk about
Mhm.
how surprised we have been that Boy Meets World has taken off generation after generation after generation.
It's a total surprise.
Yeah, he never expected that, and he's very pleased. We're thrilled. People, cameos come in a lot, and people want to meet him and talk to him, and women cry when they meet him. They're so, somehow Bill has made a very strong impact on his audience, and they just love him. And no matter how many years ago, they love Bill. They love Mr. Feeney.
Mhm.
Totally. I feel like Mr. Feeney is just one of those characters that you just really, um, it's just everybody loves him. Like he's just the one character that is like, yeah, everyone just loves. Um, and I think it's a testament to the show's writing, the
Yes,
directing, acting,
definitely.
and everything. Yeah.
Writer Michael Jacobs.
Mhm.
He's the head writer.
Mhm.
It is definitely a testament, a lot of talent. It was a very good show,
Mhm.
and it hits home to families. You know,
Mhm. And it's, like watching shows like that, it just proves that no matter how many years that it's been like, if the show ended its final season, it still resonates with audiences today. Shows like,
definitely.
World and pretty much a lot of the shows that you see from like the 60s, 70s, so on and so forth, we still remember them for the fun times that we had as children. And you can still watch it as an adult, and you can just totally get more of the serious, like it's for the case of Boy, like you can enjoy it as a kid, but then when you get older, you just appreciate the more serious, subject matters that they
Exactly.
tackle, and that's
Yeah.
what makes the show so great.
Yeah, because it's funny, but that is a tribute
Yeah.
to Michael Jacobs, who's the producer and the head writer, because he wanted it that. He had to fight with the networks, believe me, because they wanted all fun and games. And Michael wanted to have Bill's character, Mr. Feeney, really send good messages. And I think he's succeeded very well.
Oh, totally. Um,
Bill also is very well known because of Kit, Knight Rider. He was the voice of the car on Knight Rider. People love that. And then they love, of course, 1776, John Adams.
Mhm.
They love that. Okay, Bill, I think he has to go now. If you have one more
okay.
question for me, he has to go.
Do you have
Yeah.
a question for me?
Oh, sure. How is it like filming King Henry the fourth or fifth in Richard the Third that you just recently finished?
We did. We just finished that, and you can mention that. That's a new kind of thing where there are. It's meant for the phone, and you can. It's Richard the Third, all in close-ups, and our son actually did the filming. Bill doing King Richard. He hadn't done Shakespeare in a long time, but he used to do a lot of Shakespeare. He was great at it. He was very good because he could speak it. So that'll be coming out soon, and people can get it on their phones, you know. And it's just another job. They're all just jobs, you understand.
Mhm. Okay, I'm gonna leave you.
Okay, say
Okay.
hello, folks. Okay,
Thank you, Bill.
Mhm.
okay. I'll move over now.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what should we talk about?
Okay. So we can talk about the book in a little bit, but first, I do want to talk about that both of you guys have served in the SAG board of directors for many years. And I just wanted
Bill
to
was
talk
the
to you about,
president.
yeah.
Bill was the president of SAC.
Oh, okay.
He,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, he took them through a 6-month strike, commercial strike. It was very tough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I remember reading about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very tough.
Yeah. And it's very like, it's so interesting that we're kind of are in another one right now, which is kind of like a separate topic in and of itself. But how would you say, how was the experience like, being on the board of directors for so many
Terrible,
years?
terrible. I don't advise anybody to be on a board. It's a terrible experience because you don't get anything done that you want to do. So you do what I don't want to talk about this now because they're in the middle of a strike, but no, it's not a good experience. It's very hard. And I have to commend anybody who will keep going and keep trying and keep moving. But it's very difficult to be on the board because it's like any other big institution. It's all about the institution and the staff, and it's never about the people. So not to talk about it now. I hope they win. I support the union. I support the strike. I hope to hell that they get something. It isn't easy to get something from people who have a lot of money. And you're fighting a really tough battle. The writers need it very much. All this new stuff I don't want to talk about it now. This is not what I want to talk
Sure.
about.
Yeah, because I know we're kind of still in the middle of everything, so it's totally understandable. But yeah, um, but I also would like to talk about, with the book that you just published. So, it was really an interesting read of like, getting to know more about, your personal life, and how you were able to overcome the really difficult times that you've had as a kid. But so I guess this is something that I don't really talk about this a lot on the podcast, but I would like to have your um perspective for anybody that has also went through similar challenges in their
The point is you can
lives
get
and stuff.
through it. That's what the whole point of the book is about. You
Yeah,
can do it. You don't have to. People who have had the experiences I had, women have often, because what it does, it leaves you feeling very dirty. It leaves you feeling rotten and dirty. But you can get above that. You have to, therapy. I had a lot of therapy to help me. And now women don't have to go through that. They can stand up and say, you're bad. Well, look what happened to this actor recently who's been put in jail. He's going to be put in jail for 20 years or something, 30 years.
great. Yeah.
People have to be, okay, the big thing that is so important is that people have to be held accountable for their misdeeds. They have to be accountable. That's politically, with all the stuff that's going on politically in the nation. We're a democracy, so people have to be held accountable. That includes men's bad behavior toward women. They have to be held accountable. And boy, is that guy held accountable.
Mhm. Yeah, so middle of the rainbow. So that's pretty much the whole idea. Is like that's pretty much why you've
But you
did
can
this book in the
overcome
first
all this.
place. Yep.
There are, first of all, women recognize in the book parts of their lives that are similar to what they've been through, and they understand what you have to do to recover. It's all about recovery and going on and being strong and being clear and being open, very open and honest about all this, because you have to be. You have to stand up And your life can be wonderful. And my life has been wonderful. My life, in spite of all of that, has been wonderful. I have a wonderful husband. I have now, we've been married 72 years. That's a long time. So a lot of things happen in 72 years. There's no question about that. But in any marriage, a lot happens. And every marriage is different. Every single marriage is different. And I can't emphasize the need for communication and for being close to your children, being involved with their lives and, close to them and yet letting them be free. But you got to know what's going on. It's just, life is all about solving problems. It really is solving problems. And there's great joy in life, but you have to solve the problems in order to experience the joy.
Yeah. So to turn this into a more positive discussion about it, because the book goes through a lot of detail. So if I were to ask any of the questions here, it would kind of be a little redundant, but to flip this around into a more positive light, over the course of the time that you were healing, what have been some of the, because I know that you have a husband, because you're a wife, a mother, and you've been working in the industry. So what would you say are some of the positive, like the best moments that you could recall?
Acting
Um,
has saved my life all the way from the time I was a little girl, being somebody else. I had the privilege of being talented as an actor, so I could be somebody else and be successful. And I've done that since I was a little girl. And then in life, I had a period where I didn't work because I wanted to raise my boys, because we adopted 2 boys and I wanted to raise them. And so for about 10 years, I didn't work much. And then I went back, but I didn't want to work in the theater because in the theater, it takes you away from your kids. And you can't do that. You got to be with them. They need you to be with them. You can't just go away, well, you can, but I mean to say, to really be close and to be on top of things, you got to spread a lot of love, and that heals. So being a good mother was very important to me, as good a mother as I could be. That's really important, very important. And my life has been very good. We've been very successful. For 10 years, Bill wasn't successful, and then he did become successful. I was successful earlier on, but experienced a lot of bad things. But when you notice something that's a little bit wrong, off, you've got to call it out. You've got to call it out right away, even little things. You got to call it out. Otherwise, it'll get worse. There's such a change. I've been around 94 years. Huge change in how people are held responsible. And that's good. And having it all out in the open, being able to talk to people and so forth. That's great. And that's what the book's about. And actually, that's what I'm doing signings. I'm doing all. It's been very successful. The people who have read the book have really enjoyed it and gotten not enjoyed it so much as enjoyed it. It's a good read. It's a page turner. So you've read it, and I encourage people to buy it. If they want a signed copy, people can actually send it to my P.O. Box. Bonnie's Middle of the Rainbow.com. Okay?
Ready. And for conventions, Um, would you say that it's like another like outlet for people to really get the full extent of your story, like just meeting so many wonderful fans and actors and just getting to engage with them and telling them your story of, the hardships and the triumphs or the success that you've managed to um because I know that, with every, because it says right here, with the pot of gold at both ends, like for every, in the midst of the darkness, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Would you say the conventions is another, like, because you've been signing them, you've been going and meeting all these wonderful, you know, so
We
many
meet
people
a
that really
lot of
appreciate your
people.
work, and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good. Yes, that makes you feel very good. Makes you feel very good. And that's, we still do it. I mean, it's hard. We're at our age, the traveling, but we do it. And I
Yeah.
think it's very fulfilling. We meet people from all over the country, and that's wonderful. And people for the most part are terrific. They really are. The people we meet at the cons are mostly terrific.
Oh, totally. Um, And because as we've kind of learned with the pandemic, because it's been like 3 years and we're kind of starting to see a positive change. Um, Now, granted, like you could still get the virus, but at the end of the day, we're just being more cautious and careful with our surroundings. But my point is, even in the worst of times, there's always, good people out there who are making a positive change, who
Right.
gives hope, and
We
they will
yeah,
do their darnest to spread joy and laughter everywhere.
it's true.
Yep, positivity. And that's like seriously, totally recommend this book. That's pretty much bottom line.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you,
if you
Rob.
want, yeah, if you want hope of like, or just with life in general, I totally recommend this book. Like, I can't really, say a lot of specific, you know, advice when, this book is kind of like it pretty much has a lot of the answers. Like, it really does. So if I say something like, give any piece of advice of like, for people that are going through a rough time, like, buy this book and just keep hanging on. That's pretty much the best that I have at the moment.
That's very
um,
sweet. That's good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
of course.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like I know since we're kind of like almost near the end of 2023, so anything else you want to share or just because I know that this book is currently out, so what is something else that you want to share or plug to the audience out there, at least for the rest of this year and in the near future?
Well, I think there are two ways of thinking right now. There are people who are very cynical and pessimistic about everything that's going on, and there's every reason to be that. But it's a terrible way to live. So that it's a much better to have hope and continue to push for the good things and uh, the good changes and I guess hope and love. You've got to love people and you've got to hope for the best. And even though we have extreme problems now, the main one is, I think, is climate change. And then the disruption to our democracy. Those are huge, huge problems. Nobody can solve them, no one person. But all together we can help. All together we can help solve them. But it needs all of us to do that. Okay? I
Yeah,
thank
I
you very much.
definitely agree.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I thank you very much. Okay?
Yeah,
And thank you for recommending the book. I appreciate that very much.
totally.
Okay.
Um, Let me see. I guess my last question would be, I mean, I know you've already shared some wonderful advice throughout this interview. So, what would be your closing thoughts? Any last words you'd like to say before we conclude this
I've just
episode?
said it. I think I just said
Yeah.
it. I do. I think so. Just, keep positive, keep connected. People are lonely because of COVID and because of not having and social media. So they think they're talking to people, but they're not, because you got to be with people to talk to them. You can't just do it over a thing. So you got to solve that loneliness problem, but by getting out, connecting with people, not just over a telephone. Okay? Just not over a telephone. That's very convenient and it's wonderful. It saves lives. It's been a wonderful thing. Mothers can know where their kids are. That's really important. But a social life is a social life. You've got to be with people. You've got to be in groups. You've got to belong to groups of people that do things together and all of that. You got to keep involved to try. And there are lots of young people out there now that are working hard for climate change and for political things. I mean, the young people are stepping up to get involved, and that's good.
Yeah. And who knows what the future holds for,
Any of
show
them.
business or just life in general, but we can fight for a better future. That's
Right.
the best thing that I'm going to close out with.
I think you're right. Fighting for a better future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Bonnie, for doing this with me. This is a real pleasure getting to have you on and just talking with you about your life experiences in the biz and just getting to chat with you in general. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and this interview will be going up at some point. If not today, then definitely sometime over the weekend, tomorrow, either or. But regardless, thank you all for everybody for watching this. Really, this has been an honor. So I thank you all for sticking around for at least towards the end of this. But regardless, hope everybody stays safe, stays healthy, positive, and staying cool, of course. But regardless, this is Robert Jackson signing out. And until then, have a good one.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.